I know how difficult it can be to do yoga at home, and even more so when you're just starting out. You have no idea what type of yoga to practice, what equipment to use, how long to practice for, or even what time of day, or how many days a week. It's frustrating, I know. So today, I'm going to share all the tips I've learned myself from doing yoga at home, right from the beginning, almost 10 years ago. Redefining what yoga is. Let's start at the very beginning, with what I wish someone had told me before I started. When I first began practicing, I had a completely wrong idea of what yoga really is. I personally thought it was like any other sport where you either get stronger, more flexible, or improve your balance. But yoga isn't that. It has nothing to do with any of those things. I wish someone had told me from the start, Alexandra, you don't have to be the most flexible, and you don't even have to do the poses perfectly. You just need to work with your body to find mental calm. Yoga is a psychophysical technique that uses the body to gain control of the mind. It has absolutely nothing to do with the idea you might have had about yoga, and getting this clear will help you set ideal goals for yourself. What type of yoga should I practice? The next most important thing to know when you start yoga is what type of yoga to do. You've probably already asked yourself this when you've typed yoga into YouTube and a million results pop up, and you think, okay, where do I even begin? Well, there are two important things here. The first is the teacher. People who look for classes, whether online or in a studio, often choose their yoga not by the type, but by the teacher. At the end of this video, I'll leave a link to another video on the channel that can guide you in choosing the best teacher for you. The second thing to consider is that your personal criteria might sometimes be a bit off. As we mentioned earlier, if you're a very active person, you might want really active yoga classes, like Hatha or Vinyasa, which are quite dynamic. The thing is, if you're a sedentary person, you'll probably want very relaxing yoga classes, like Yin Yoga. The point is, there are many types of yoga, but what you like isn't always what's best for you, because you need to find balance. So, try to pay more attention to what you're more reluctant to do, rather than just what you like. What equipment should I use? Now, let's move on to the next very important aspect, which is a big mystery for everyone. What equipment do I need? I'm going to save you a lot of time and money. Use whatever you have. To get started, you just need to use what's available to you. That said, if I have to recommend one thing, it's that your clothing should be very stretchy and comfortable. The most comfortable and flexible clothes you have, with the fewest zippers or straps, are the best. As for socks, don't wear them. This is the big revelation for every person who starts yoga. I don't know if you knew that. You can write it in the comments. It might seem strange because you usually wear socks for sports, but not in yoga. It's crucial to have direct contact with the floor. When you're in direct contact with the ground without a sock in between, you feel a connection to the earth, and your grip improves. This is very important, because in yoga, you'll need a good grip for most of the standing postures. Anti-slip yoga mat. Next up is your yoga mat, and it's best if it's an anti-slip mat. But if you don't have one yet, you can use whatever you have at home, like a rug, a towel, or a camping mat. You can use whatever you want, but you'll see a big improvement with an anti-slip mat. These mats tend to be a little more expensive than regular ones because they are, as the name suggests, anti-slip. They prevent your hands and feet from sliding while you're in different postures. If you want to know more about mats, we can dive deeper into the topic another day. Let me know in the comments and I'll help you out. Either way, you can go to any sports store or look online to find a good anti-slip yoga mat since they've become very popular. Next, let's talk about yoga blocks. It's very important to use them if you're a beginner and don't have much flexibility, as they will help you a lot. It really doesn't matter what block you use. A yoga block, in case you don't know, is a block made of a soft but very firm material that is used in yoga to assist in postures where, for example, you can't reach the floor with your hand and can't hold your weight with just your body's strength. It's much more comfortable to have a block. These blocks have 3 different heights on the same block. The best would be to have 2, but even 1 is enough. They are very affordable, and anyone will do. But a tip is that the heavier the block, the better. This is because a heavier block won't fall over as easily and will give you much more stability. How much time? The next thing you need to know is how much time you should practice yoga, and this is a super important factor because time really matters. The important thing isn't how long you do yoga, and you're probably thinking, I'm not answering your question, but I am. Just wait. It's more important to do it for less time, but every day than for a long time once a week. So, it's better to start with 20 or 30-minute classes every day or every other day than to do a 90-minute class one day and then feel too tired or like you don't have an hour and a half to spare every day. Also, the frustration factor is very important, and not feeling frustrated is key. The goal is to be able to find that little bit of time to do yoga every day, which will help fuel your own motivation to keep practicing. This leads me to the next tip. Since you're going to practice yoga at home, find a partner. What do I mean by a partner? Find someone to do yoga with you. This can be someone who decides to do yoga with you, either physically next to you or from a distance. You can say, hey, let's do yoga every day and motivate each other. That's the person you need to find. When you have someone waiting for you to practice, it's harder to quit. If you can't find someone, that's okay. You'll likely find a community in the comments of the videos you watch. Many people comment and write about how well the class went or how the video helped them. Those people will be your community. You don't need to know someone in person. The comments are very motivating when you see that other people are in the same situation, doing yoga at home. So, find your partner or your community and start practicing together. What's the best time of day to start practicing yoga? If you can, the morning is best. In the morning, your body, coming out of sleep, usually doesn't have the worries it will have at the end of the day, after you've worked, had a disagreement with someone, or been busy all afternoon and are very stressed. But as I said, if you really don't have time in the mornings, you can do it in the afternoon or at night. This can also be very beneficial, as it will help you calm down and release that stress. Eat 2 hours before your practice. Another thing I think is important to know is that you should leave 2 hours between your meal and your yoga practice. This is because in yoga, there are many poses where we are inverted, which means we put our pelvis above our heart and stomach. You don't have to do a headstand or acrobatics to be inverted. Any pose where your torso and legs make an angle less than 90 degrees is considered an inversion. For example, the downward-facing dog pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you're in these types of poses, your digestive system is inverted, so imagine what happens if you're in the middle of digesting. You could get a digestive cramp. That's why it's so important to leave 2 hours between eating and practicing. Or, you could practice on an empty stomach, which is another benefit of doing yoga in the morning. If you can't, eat some fruit or have an herbal tea, something light before your practice. Be careful with water. Another related thing you should know before you start is that, depending on the type of yoga class you're going to practice, the amount of water you can drink during the practice will vary. This is because, just like with food, in poses where we are inverted, if we've had a lot of water, it could upset our stomach. It's recommended that in yoga classes that include inversion poses, you limit your hydration to small, controlled sips during the class and wait until the end to hydrate more. Now, allow me to share some additional tips that, in my personal experience, I've applied and that have helped me maintain my home yoga practice. I am sure they will help you in these first steps. Make the decision to do it. Nothing can be done if you don't start. Make the firm decision to do yoga daily. Write it down with your own hand on a piece of paper and put it somewhere visible, like on your bedroom mirror or the refrigerator door. Write, I'm going to do yoga every day. This will be especially clear for people who are more connected to the idea of manifestation. It's not enough to simply say it. Writing it and seeing it every day reinforces the message even more. On a practical level, it's a constant reminder that you have to practice. Write it in your calendar. If you have a schedule, calendar, or planner, put the days and times you're going to practice. Write yoga in a visible way that stands out from the rest of your tasks. Look at your schedule, find a 20 to 30 minute slot you have available daily, and reserve it for your practice. This is the first step to creating a daily routine where that time is specifically for your yoga class, and if you have something else to do, you'll need to do it before or after your yoga time. In my personal experience, this particular tip has been key to keeping me in practice. All these years, keep your equipment in sight. Another wonderful tip or trick that I've learned and applied to do yoga daily is to keep my equipment visible. If you put your mat, blocks, or anything else you use away in a closet or cabinet, it will be harder to remember to practice. A trick I normally use is to leave all my equipment, in my case just the mat, neatly in the place I've chosen for my practice. This creates an additional reminder for your daily yoga class. Don't obsess. Finally, the most important tip, and the one that will make it worth staying until the end of the video, is that the poses are not the most important thing. The purpose of yoga isn't the poses. They are really just a means to a much greater end, so don't obsess over them. Try to follow the class and do the poses as closely as you can to the teacher, but always listen to your body. You don't have to do the pose in a specific way, be more flexible, or be stronger. You have to do the yoga that is right for you and feel good in every class. That is the most important thing. Forget about perfect poses and dedicate yourself to enjoying the practice of yoga. I hope you really liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Write a comment to let me know if you found this information useful, and click like if you, liked it. And, well, I wish you a good day or a good night, wherever you are right now. Namaste.